Okay, day 2, all right, of the Blender and Photoshop class. So I'll do a little bit of a rehash of what we went over yesterday because we have some new people here today. And I'm just going to go over the navigational no, capabilities of Blender. And then we're going to jump right into where we left off yesterday. Now, I made a video. Some of you here are new, so I will have to manually send that link to you. So make sure I have your email addresses today so I can email you the YouTube link from yesterday's recording. So every day is recording. You don't have to take notes because everything's being recorded. Okay. I'm Stephen Burns. For those who are new here, this is you're gonna have a real blast in this class. So how did you hear about Blender? Let me ask you guys this. Yeah, you can speak up. What? Or say it again? No one told about Blender. What about Blender? Yeah, oh yeah, it's a very good program tool. And then your dad told you about it and said you got to be here. Your dad is a smart man. That's great. And how about yourself back here? What's that? How did you hear about Blender? Oh, actually, I go to a church down the street. And they're actually talking about it. Pastor Victoria, she actually works here. Okay. So she's the one that actually kind of told us about it. The group meeting that we're in. Check it out and then go from there. 3D is going to be kind of the future here, right? Yes, so it's a nice skill set to learn. Yeah, you got 40, so we'll see how it goes. All right, very good. All right, cool. Let's and then the guys online, they have microphones. So do me, and for those who are online, I mentioned this yesterday. I'm not going to have the capability to look at the chat all the time because I only have one screen. So unmute your microphone and say hello or ask questions. Let's get a dialogue going. So I'm going to just kind of take that down a little bit. I'm also going to start sharing my screen. Let me go find let's go to my Zoom here. I don't want that Zoom. What I want is, all right, I'm still getting used to Zoom, guys. I'm so used to StreamYard. Okay, that is there. There's my Zoom. That Zoom there. I'm looking for. That's weird. My Zoom link disappeared. Here it is. Is that it? Come on, bring that up. That's my recording. I don't want that one. I want the Zoom. All right, there we go. It's over here. There it is. Thank you. Yeah, it's they really need to work on the just usability of this damn thing because it's hiding menus left and right everywhere. You're not quite sure where to go get it. Share that screen. There we go. Cool. Everybody can see my screen fine. Now we can get to work. All right. Now I'm just going to rehash a little bit of what we did yesterday. Okay, and we're gonna jump right into today's tutorial. We're gonna build something from scratch that's going to interact with this particular scene. All right, now what we did is we took a photograph. In fact, let me actually show you the photograph. I'm going to bring this on up. West Hills College should be right about there. That's the wrong West Hills College. I'm over here. Presentation, West Hills College. Let's go show you the image. There we go. If I come over here, I should have everything right in here. So Blender 2 West College, there it is. Okay. All right. There we go. There they are. Okay, good. That's it. All right. We're missing an image and it's probably just hidden just right back here. Let's minimize that. There it is. So I'm going to go ahead and just make this a little bit larger. I double click that. I should be able to zoom in. There we go. So we use this image. And since you guys have no experience in 3D and modeling in 3D, we did something kind of interesting. It's a practical application in the real world, but it gave you some simple techniques for learning how to split polygons up, extrude them out, bevel them to create more sophisticated concepts. So we just took this image, we overlaid it on a flat polygon, and then we actually modeled out the windows and the various structures of the particular piece. Okay, all right, let me close this one out. We'll go back to Blender. This is what the result is in Blender. We took that image and we modeled out. I'm going to hit my home key because there we go. Hit the period key to zoom in close. Okay, so you can see how we modeled in structures into a flat polygon surface. Okay, and the purpose of this is that if you have highly sophisticated background with a lot of sophisticated buildings or shapes, you can quickly use a photographic image to build a 3D structure or to make it look like it's 3D, even though you haven't put the work into building the individual 3D assets that would actually make this wall inside of Blender. So it's a way of faking the background. So I figured it'll be a good little exercise in terms of kind of learning how to extrude, how to add extra geometry so that you can pull out extra details in your imagery. All right, now for those who are watching me right now, for the new people here, inside of Blender, I'm going to have you go somewhere. So watch me up here. Go to your edit menu, please. And we're going to give Blender preferences. Go to your preferences. And those who were here yesterday, if you're working on the same computer, you shouldn't have to do this again because Blender remembered your preferences. So, but you can double check while I'm doing this here. What I'd like you to do is to go on the left-hand side. Have these like nice little buttons here. What I'd like you to do is to click on the input button and to make sure the emulate 3-button mouse is checked. Was yours checked or unchecked? It was unchecked? Okay, so then what's happened is the school has the software on their system that resets everything back to default. So you have to do it again. Okay, so when you do it at home on your computer, it won't do that. It'll stay exactly the way it is, the way you set it from the beginning. All right, I'm gonna go over to navigation. What I would like you to do is to also check, because by default, orbit around selection is unchecked. I want you to check this. Okay. Right below navigation, go to key map. And on the right-hand side, what I like you to do is this right below these blue boxes here. It says tab for pie menu. Check that because by default that's unchecked. Okay. On the add-ons, what I'd like you to do, I want you to, the add-ons is where you can add in additional functionality into Blender. They're plugins, like plugins from Photoshop. If you work in Photoshop, this is how you add them in. One of the plugins I'd like you to add in there is called Bool Tool. So B-O-O, and then it'll pop up right here. Now on mine, it's checked because I've checked it before, but on yours, it's probably going to be unchecked. So check it. The next one I want you to look for, put in extra, E-X, and then T. And there should be one called Add Mesh Extra Objects. Check that. And there's one more that I'm missing. I always can never remember. It's called Loop Tools. So put up here L-O-O, first 3 letter of Loop Tools. It'll find it. Mesh Loop Tools Make sure that is checked. All good? Good. You guys are fast. That was it so far. If I forget something, oh, one more. Yeah. Images as planes. So put in IMAGE, images as planes. So if the guys on...
Steven?
Yes, sir.
What about UV magic?
All right. Very good. Thank you. UV magic, because we will be talking about that today. UV and then UV magic. Thank you. All right. So for those who are joining us online, the computers here in the classroom, and all colleges have it, resets everything back to factory default on Blender and Photoshop, no matter what software is on there. So we'll have to make this routine, preferences check each day of the class. So just be aware of that. Okay, that's it. All right, let me talk about this piece here. So I want all eyes up here. Okay. Now, navigating. I want you to follow me. Your one hand is always on your mouse. Your other hand is always on your keyboard. Always. No exceptions. So if I see your hands like dangling off somewhere, I'm going to start shouting at you. Stop dangling. Put it on the keyboard. Okay? All right. So to navigate, by default, you have the cube on your system, right? In Blender, because the computers here reset everything back to default. Hold down your Alt key and then left click and hold your mouse and drag it and watch what you can do. You can rotate around your object. Practice that. How's everybody doing? You're good to go? You got the hang of that? And talk to me. Be quiet. I'm going to scream at you. Okay. Yeah.
You can just click on the scroller of the mouse.
All right, hold on. I'm getting to that point. If you the genius back here. So if you want to zoom in and out, as he was telling me, you can use your scroll wheel to do this. Okay. Right? Or thank you. Or Control and Alt, hold down together, left click and drag up and down. Okay. This is going to become second nature by the middle of the day. You'll be navigating it easily. The last thing you need to know is if you want to pan it left to right or up and down, is Alt and Shift. Hold them down together and pan the right to left or up and down. All right. Alt and Control, zoom in. Or you can use your scroll wheel to zoom in. Shift and Alt to go right to left and up and down.
You can also use the scroll wheel to turn it.
The scroll wheel to turn it? Right. So that what he's discovering is the traditional way to navigate in Blender, where the middle mouse click gives you rotation, the middle mouse scroll gives you zoom, and if you want to go right to left, up and down, Shift middle mouse will give you right to left and up and down. I find the other way to be more effective. Okay, so now if all of you at home, I think you guys were here yesterday, bring up this image that you had before. Bring up this file that we worked on yesterday. Everybody who was here won't have the file because I know you didn't save it. Don't worry about it. You don't need this. But you get to see how what we're going to build today is going to interact with this. Okay. Now, for those who are at home, I'm going to place this file into its own group, right? So everybody watch me up here. You have your 3D interface that we just finished playing in, right? Over to the right are your layers, right? This is where all your 3D objects are. So if you click on your cube, just left click on it, do it now. Left click on your cube. You will see the cube will be highlighted up here on the right hand side. Does everybody see it? Yes, no. Say yes or no. Okay, thank you. All right. So and then in there with the cube, you'll probably see your light source and your camera. Did Blender give you a light source and a camera? Okay, good. All right. So that's your 3D assets. So what I'm going to do now, my 3D asset is the street. I renamed it. By the way, you can rename your cube by double clicking on it. So if I go, it says cylinder, which is basically what I use to create my garbage can right here. If I double click on the cylinder and just rename it garbage can, try renaming your cube now. All right. So what I want everybody at home to do is I want you to place these 3D objects in their own folder. And you guys just select your cube, and I'm going to multiple select here. The way you multiple select is I'll select one on the right hand side, and then I'll hold the shift key and select the other 3D object so they're both highlighted. When I'm done, I make sure my mouse is in this navigational area. I'm going to hit the M as in man. Hit that key, and right there, you get a dialog box that comes up. It says, what do you want to do with this? We want to put this in a new collection, or you want me to put this into a collection that already exists? A collection, all it is a folder. Like, Photoshop layers, you can put them in folders. That's all these are. So if I click on new collection, and I'm going to call it 3D assets, you can call it yours, whatever you like. Go ahead and do it. So select your cube, hit the M key as a man on the keyboard, and then say you want a new asset, and then rename it what you want. Call it 3D assets if you like, and then click OK. And some people here online already have it's gone over this a little bit, so this is all just refresh it. Once you complete that, you'll notice that you have a folder up here. I named mine 3D asset. On the left hand side is a little triangle. If I click the triangle, I can cascade it up so everything's inside the asset. On the right hand side is an eyeball. I can turn that eyeball off to make it go away visually, or to turn it back on to make it come back. So if you say you have like 30 3D assets that you're using to build your 3D scene or your concept to tell a story, you can put them all inside one folder to keep track of everything. Right? So turn them off, turn them on, turn them off. Let's see. Turn it off, turn it on, right? Okay. So this is just a nice, efficient way to keep track of everything. That's all. Now, I have one little thing here that I forgot to put inside. I missed it right there. If you miss something, all you have to do is click on it and drag it and place it inside the folder and release, just like in Photoshop. Does that make sense? That's clear? Okay, cool. Now we can go to work. Now we can go to today's lesson. And I'll go a little slower because a lot of you here have no experience in 3D and weren't here yesterday. So, okay. So here's my, I'm going to create something to put inside here. I want to create something else. I want to make this more convincing. I think one way to make this more convincing is that I'm going to actually build from scratch a 3D fire hydrant. And we're going to place it into the scene in here. Now, what we're looking at now is in my way, right? So what can I do? That's right. Excellent. Press the I button. Boom. It's gone. It's out of the way. Now, if I hold my Alt key and left click, or however you want to navigate, here is, no, you can navigate in here. If you want to, you can turn it on and off just to remember where things are. Right? I've built it looking down the x-axis. So X, Y, Z, red, green, and blue. X is going left to right, which is the red, green, and blue, like RGB. Green is your y-axis going in and out of your scene. Blue is the axis going up and down. X, Y, Z, red, green, blue. Okay, now we're going to bring in an image. Whenever we're building anything in 3D, how successful you're going to be at it, it's going to depend whether or not on if you have an asset or if you have a reference. That's what I want to say. Have a reference, have a reference, have a reference. For example, if I'm going to model this water bottle here, I've got the reference, the water bottle, right here in my hand. So I can physically look at it as a reference and model the bottle inside a blender. More efficiently is taking a picture of the bottle and bringing the picture of that bottle in there as a reference can be even better. Having them both is ideal. So what we don't have the physical fire hydrant here, right? And oftentimes a client may not have a physical fire hydrant to send you if they want to hire you to model their particular fire hydrant, right? So they're going to send you what? They're going to send you pictures, right? As many pictures as possible. Now, in today's class, we're only going to have one picture. Say the client says, all I've got is one picture. You got to use that to build this. And that's what we're going to do. So I think I still have it up here open. All right. So the picture we're going to use is that folder that I had everybody put on their desktop. Okay, why do I not have it here? There we go, over here. There we go. The images of fire hydrant. There we go. Okay, so let me go to large view, go to extra large. There we go. All right, now this is the fire hydrant we're going to build. Okay, that's what we're going to build. And we're going to build it from the ground up. And it's not going to be a partial 3D model. It's going to be a full 3D model. And it's going to look accurate to this. And we have the textures for this as well, right? So if I come over, here are my textures. We're going to map these textures onto the fire hydrant. Okay. And we'll talk about these textures in more depth in just a little bit. But what we need to do is bring the fire hydrant into Blender. All right, now let's go back to Blender, okay? Now, we know in perspective mode, we can rotate around, okay? We can see it in its full 3D space. Now, what I want to do next is I want to view this in orthographic view. That means only see it from the front, only see it from the side, only see it from the top. So if I temporarily turn on my 3D assets here, okay, and I'm in perspective mode now, that means I can rotate it anywhere in perspective to view my content. If I only want to see it from the front view, the numeric side of my keyboard, I'm going to hit the number 1. That's only that front view. So for you guys, hit the number 1 on your keyboard, and your cube, your cube will rotate, and then it'll stop at the front face. To see it from the side view, hit the number 3 key on the numeric side of the keyboard. To see it only from the top view, go number 7 key. So that odd numbers, 1, 3, 7. Number 7 key allow you to view it on the top, right? And you're going to use this a lot in your 3D modeling. because you're going to only want to see something from only one point of view. So I go to 1 front, 3 side, 7 top. Just practice that. Get your body used to kind of using those shortcuts. Okay, cool. All right. Let's go create. Say, for example, I'm in my top view, right? If I want to go back to my perspective view, just hold down the Alt key and left click and drag it. It automatically goes back. Practice that. Okay, so now we're ready to go to the fire hydrant. So what I'm going to do is turn it off. Turn off the fire hydrant. I think I want to turn off everything else too. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay. And we're going to bring the fire. We're going to bring in the hydrant. I'm going to bring it in from the front view. So hit the 1 key on my keyboard. So I'm looking at the front view. Now this is what I need you guys to do. I need you to go get the image of the fire hydrant and drag it in. Now on your PC, if you hold down the Windows button and hit E, you get the Windows Explorer Navigator to come up. Okay. See it drop my Blender back there somewhere. It's not what I wanted to do. But anyways, if you go to your desktop, go to that folder I put on the desktop. So navigate to the folder I put onto the desktop. Let's see if I got anything in here. I can't hear you. Why is your folder empty on your desktop? It can't be empty. Can you see your images? You can't see no images in there, huh? That's weird. I gotta take a look at it. Hold on, let me go and get mine real quick. So go back here. I'm gonna go to my presentations folder, go to West Hills, and then go back over here to the modeling class, and there is my fire hydrant folder right there. That's the hydrant I want there, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go get Blender. Blender's open. I'm using Alt Tab to toggle through my my applications. In this case, I'm toggling to. I'm just going to bring this on top of Blender, and just watch me at first. Don't do it yet. Just watch me at first. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to drag it in. Now, this is different than what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we imported the image as planes. That's not what we're doing now. Now we just simply bringing the image in as a reference. So by dragging and dropping it on top, it'll make a reference of it like this. Now I'm going to pause the recording and help people get this onto their computer real quick. There's my recording. And I see a message on chat here. Let me take a quick look. My audio keeps cutting out, so restarting the machine to see if it fixes it. Okay, no worry, devils. Sometimes it could be a bandwidth issue. So just be patient. It'll usually catch up. And doing these Zoom meetings, now that we're living in a world of Zoom, as a caveat, you might want to upgrade how much you pay for bandwidth. Get the higher bandwidth. Of course, it depends on where you live, whether or not you can get it. All right, so let's minimize that chat real quick. Okay, now this is what I'm going to do. And this is primarily for the people at home because they have the last project saved. You guys are going to, it's not going to matter, so you don't have to follow along with this next thing. For those who are at home, I'm going to turn on my 3D assets real quick. I can immediately see that my fire hydrant is real big compared to my 3D asset, right? and I've got it rotated a little differently. So now what I can do is I can use a shortcut in Blender for rotating. Now this would be something good for you guys as well. Just remember this. There are shortcuts in Blender that we can use to make our lives easier. In other words, I want to rotate this fire hydrant 90 degrees on the Z-axis. How do I know it's on the Z-axis? Because when I have my transform button here turned on, whenever I select my 3D object, I get this 3D symbol. The red, green, and blue, X, Y, and Z. So the Z is in blue. I want to rotate it 90 degrees so that it's facing in this direction. Does that make sense? So I can either physically drag it and rotate it like this, right, by clicking on the Z-axis, or I can use a shortcut. Watch. I'm going to pull it out so it's easier to see. Pull that down. Pull this to the bottom. So I'm going to hit the R key for rotate, shortcut for rotate. So select this one, R key for rotate. I want to restrict it to what axis again? Hit the Z key next for the Z axis to restrict it on. And then hit how many degrees I want to rotate it? 90. There, done. I think I want negative 90, but you guys get the point. Okay. I want mine rotated the other way. Now, if you want to manually do it, you can hold down the Control key, grab your Z axis, and it'll rotate it in 10-degree increments. You can do it that way too. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do one last thing. And this is for people at home. I'm going to turn on yesterday's assets. My fire hydrant is huge. I'm going to reduce the size of the hydrant to kind of match how it's going to fit into the scene. S key for, oops, sorry. I'm going to undo that one. I want to click the hydrant. In other words, this right there, it says empty. If I want to, now keep in mind, the hydrant is an empty, right? So I'm going to double click it. I'm going to call it image just to keep it organized. Come on, double click it. Thank you. Now, all I'm going to do at this point, if I mouse over it, see these little yellow highlights in the corner? For those who were here yesterday, we didn't have that happen yesterday. Yesterday, the image came in as an actual 3D plane. Here is only a reference. We can't edit it. We can't go in an edit mode to edit this. So if I'm going to reduce the size down with it highlighted, I'm going to click and release the S key for scale, and then it's doing both at the same time. Why is that? Okay, this is starting to really annoy me. All right, they're not inside one another. Why is it? This should not be. Oh, I see. I can't hit the S key. All right. So scale in Blender is scaling 3D objects. This is not a 3D object. This is a reference image. So I can't use the 3D navigations for it. So just click on it, highlight, get it yellow like this in the corner, and just stretch it down manually like this. Put your mouse in the middle and place it kind of like right back up in here. I'm going to make it about the size it's going to be. Zoom in, see how I'm zooming in and navigating to kind of anticipate how this is going to look. So maybe something like this in the end. Maybe a little bigger. Maybe like that. I'm just eyeing it at this point. Now, this is something for the online people, see, because they have this other image back here. Now, once I'm done, I'm going to turn off that background image, turn off the 3D assets, and I'm going to center this on my axis. Now, the way I can do it, clicking on this, let me see if I can right-click on here, set origin to geometry. No, it's not going to allow me to do it that way either. All right, so I'm going to go to my side view. Okay. Let's do control. There we go. And I'm going to click on the object. I'm going to just place it right up here in the center. And if I zoom in close, just do your best to kind of center it so that the z-axis is going to go dead center around. Just do your best you can to do so. It doesn't matter where it is on the z height, just as long as it's centered. That's all I really care about. I might want to bring it back a little bit just to put it right on the 0, 0 axis. Now, another way I can do this as well is if I come right over here. Now, this is cascaded. If I open that up, it's a little bit of a triangle. You can barely see it over here. Here are my locations. So on the y-axis, I can put in 0, and it'll drop it there. Okay. On the x-axis, I can also put in 0. It'll drop it there. And the z-axis, I'm going to leave alone. That's going to be our reference. I'm going to save it. File menu. Save as. And I'm going to call it architecture number 2 because this is an extension from yesterday's class. Okay. So for those who are in class here, just kind of center it as close as you can to this. We'll make modifications later, but just have your reference in the background there. So we go build it. So the stark, strong nature of the photographic image may get in the way a little bit of our 3D objects. Now, we're going to tell this image to kind of become transparent, maybe like 40% transparent. So with this image targeted, if I come down here to the bottom, look on the right-hand side. So right beneath all my 3D assets, I have the image selected. And if I come down here, I want a picture, that little picture it's the second one from the bottom. Click on it. And these are the properties for that image. So what I can do is I can come over to the right-hand side, and toward the kind of the middle bottom here, you'll see a word saying opacity. Click on the checkbox for opacity and just drag it over to the left to it's like 0.4, so about there, and it becomes transparent. And I'm going to text my tech guy again. Computers not logging in. Cool. All right. So now we have our reference image set up and ready to go. Now, your cube that you currently have, I want you to delete it. Select the cube, left click and select your cube. And the way you delete anything in Blender is you hit the X key on your keyboard. All done? Okay. All right, now we're going to bring in a new object that's going to best represent this hydrant. So what object, what 3D primitive do you think we would use? Excellent, a cylinder. How many sides should this cylinder have? How many sides do you think this object has? Well, since I played around with it earlier, it's about 12 sides. So we're going to bring in a 12-sided cylinder. Take note that right here in the middle, we have this little circle. That's your 3D cursor. Whenever we bring in a new object into Blender, it always brings up where that 3D cursor is. Always, no matter what. All right, here we go. We're going to bring in a new object. How are we going to do it? Hold down. You're going to use a shortcut for accessing all your 3D objects. Watch me first up here. Shift A is my shortcut. You can see the variety of 3D options I have here. The one that we're interested in is called Mesh. And under Mesh, you have a variety of primitives. A plane, a cube, a circle, a sphere. There's my cylinder. Click that cylinder. And what you're seeing is it went really big, right? It went really big. I don't want it really big, but that's okay. Just go ahead. You guys, now actually, let me go back. Let me back up. So we're going to put it in there. Shift A, Mesh, Cylinder, and take note that over here are my options for that cylinder. If you don't see this, it's because it's minimized. It's right down here in the bottom left-hand corner. Click the little triangle, and you can access your size. Now, what I want you to do is put in 12 sides. You can click it, highlight it, put in 12 sides, hit Enter. Yes. Okay, say that again. Do you see the Properties panel on the bottom left-hand corner here? And under vertices, you want 12 sides. And that's all I want you to do is do 12. That's it. So did you do so? Did he do it? Go to the very top number there and put in 12. Oh, did you? Yeah, the little triangle thing on the bottom on the side. Click it. All right, let me pause recording and come back there and help you. I'm going to start recording. And I want to check something out over here. I want to go to Materials, Random Textures, Materials. I want to check one other little thing out there. That shouldn't be okay. Interesting. Okay. Let's find out what's going on. All right, there's my object. Yours is going to be gray. It looks like I'm working in the a weight paint mode, but yet I'm not in weight paint mode or vertex paint. If I go to vertex paint, that's what it looks like I'm in, and I should not be there. I should be in object mode, and it shouldn't have this blue here. I'm not quite sure why that blue is there. I'll figure it out later. All right, now that's the basis of my fire hydrant. Now, what I want to do is I want to be able to see through this. So I want to be able to see to my reference. So I'm going to tell Blender to take me, make sure I've got this right. There we go, good. To take me to an X-ray mode. So I'm back in perspective, right? Just hold your Alt key and then click and drag and move around. And I want to be able to see my reference behind this thing. To do so, right at the top hand. Now, just to mention, I forgot to mention earlier, right up here, you'll see your different your rooms that we're working in. I'm in the modeling. Just make sure yours is modeling. The modeling ones connect. You got layouts. You've got, oh, there we go. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. You're welcome to go to modeling or stay in layout. It doesn't matter. I'm going to stay over here. Layout works just as fine. Doesn't matter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right up here, and these are my viewing modes. My standard shading mode, and then if I go 2 notches over, that's my X-ray mode. I'm going to click it so I can see through it. Okay, there's something else annoying me too. Now, why is it? That's interesting. Now you can see my reference behind here. I'm going to match the size of my reference. So, let me go back to object. Once again, we see now it's back. The blue is gone. I'm back. Okay, it's a bug in Blender. That was a bug. We have 2 different modes to work in. Object mode, which allows you to animate your 3D objects, and your edit mode, which allows you to actually create something out of them. We're going to go to edit mode. Hit your tab key, hold it down, and go to edit mode. All right, so everybody's there in edit mode. So remember, what was that? When you click down your tab key, what are you getting? All right, click on the object mode. Now click on your object, the highlighted orange. Highlight your object orange. Now hit the tab key again. Do you see edit? Now go to edit. That's one of the tricks in Blender. You got to make sure your object is selected first. All right, so as I explained yesterday, for the new people who are here, watch me up here. You have several different aspects to your 3D object to edit. Your points, which are individual dots that connects to lines. Your lines, which is called your edges. We can edit those. And of course the faces, and it's right up here. Click on the faces. I can edit the individual faces. Okay. The shortcuts, now watch me please. Watch me up here. Points, edges, and faces. The shortcut is the number 1 key. What's right? Number 1 key for points. The number 2 key above your letters here edits your edges. Number 3 edits your faces. Practice that real quick. Everybody online knows this already. And also, she was here yesterday because she knows it. I'm sorry, I forget your first name. Aislind. Aislind, is that correct? Okay, cool. So Aislind was here yesterday, so she remembers all this. So 1 for points, 2 for edges, 3 for polys, right guys? Okay, cool. What was that? Oh, watch me again. All right, so I'm gonna do it over again. When you're in object mode, click in object mode, hold your tab key and click object mode. Do it now. All right, let me take a look. You holding your tab key down? Don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Listen to me. You are already. Oh, you know what? That's your timeline. It's space bar to stop that. Okay, now you are in object mode. Hold your tab key down. Tab. See? Edit. Go open your mouse and edit. Now you're in edit mode. All right. Number one, put your other hand up here. Remember I said get that hand on the keyboard? Other hand on your mouse. There. All right. So 1 for points. Okay. 2 for edges. It's all highlighted. So where you can highlight is you can select like this, right? So now you can edges. 3 for faces, right? Or 1 for points. Okay, go. All right, here we go. Let's go forward. All right, so now we're going to edit this thing a little bit. This is a little bit off up here. We'll undo mine a little bit so I moved something around accidentally. There we go. That worked. All right, now I'm gonna resize this down. To do so, I'm gonna go to the face edit mode. Hit number 3 key on your keyboard. The next thing I'm gonna do is I want to select all the polygons in here. Hit A key on your keyboard, and it'll select it all. Mine is set up to do my wheel, but yours will select everything automatically. Does yours look like this? Did you hit A key on your keyboard?
Yes.
Okay.
Mine has like one gray sign on it.
Yours has one gray side. Did you hit A on your keyboard?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
All right. Did you hit your number 3 key on your keyboard? Hit A again. It should select everything.
It is not, I don't know.
I take it. Hey, he needs to get on the computer. The password's not working on all the computers. Oh, really? We work together. Oh, no, yours is fine. That's fine. That means I must select it. So this one's not working? I don't know if it's on or off. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, great. I tell you what, it's break time. We're gonna do a 15-minute break. Let me go over here and pause and hit the recording. We are now recording. Okay, my cube isn't not my cube, but my cylinders inside is 12 sided. I'm going to go grab this top half here. Hit the number 3 key to go to my orthographic view. Just pull this on up. That's all I'm doing. Do the same thing at the bottom. Grab that, pull it down to the bottom, all the way through. Now, there's all this little detail in here. Let me turn off my cylinder temporarily by clicking the eyeball. There's all this little extra detail on this fire hydrant. You're going to ignore. No detail. We're going to ignore it. All right. I am going to go bring it back. And what we're going to do next is we're going to create the rest of the detail up here. So this is actually 2 joining parts. I kind of call this the hat. I'm not sure what to call this up here, but you can see the 2 joining parts put together by bolts. And we're going to create those bolts. All the bolts that go around here, we're going to create them all by creating only 1 bolt. And let the program duplicate it, multiply it. So let's start by extending this out to create this base connector for the hat. To do so, I'm going to grab the face view at the top. So we get to that point. So grab this top face now. Face view, number 3 key on the keyboard. And you're welcome to kind of rotate it out a little bit to see the top portion so that you can click and drag and select only that top portion like so. Is everybody there? I can't hear you. No? Right. I want you to select the top of the cylinder, not the cylinder. All right. Watch me again. I'm going to deselect everything. All I'm going to do is, with the face editing mode, I'm going to take my selection tool, my cursor tool, and just drag across the top portion of that face to select only the top. Can you do that? All right. Some computers over here. So whatever you're working on now, just go ahead and stop and watch me up here. I'm going to grab this front face and extend this out. The way I'm going to do it is hit the E key for extend. Watch me. I'm going to hit the E key for extend. When I hit the E key, it's going to stick to the mouse and it's going to want to extend it upwards. What I want to do is to right click to get it to reset back to its base. Now I'm going to go back over to the 3 key on my keyboard to go to my orthographic view. What it's done is it's created an extra set of polygons for me to distort. How I'm going to distort it is hit the S key again for scale. You're going to be using it a lot for scale, and just rotate it out. You see? That's going to be the base. I want to just right to the tip here, and then left click, and this is what you should have. I want you to get to this point. All right, next we're going to go to the next step. Let's go make sure that top face is selected. I'm going to extrude it upwards. Going to go to my orthographic view. E key for extrude. Stop to where I think it should be, where it's going to subside. Click it. S key for scale. Pull it on out to match the angle of that piece. Okay. Now we're going to do the bottom portion. Come down to the bottom. Grab that face. E key. Right click to reset. S key. Pull it on out. E key for extrude. There we go. Make sure I've got this correct. That's it. E key for extrude. Done. All right, so I want everybody to get to this point. And for those who are online, if you're done, shout out that you're done so I know you're ready to go. Share your screen. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Go to the bottom of your...
Okay, it should be sharing my screen there. Okay.
Cool. There
All
it
right,
is.
So I'm just go back here. So extruding it. Right click.
Right click. S key.
S key, and then it does this line where this. You see that?
Okay, let's see. Do me a favor, undo that.
Okay.
All right. Now your rotational point is at the top somewhere. So what that means is, oh, you're at global, huh?
Yeah.
Let me go down. So yeah, see your rotational point is up there. Okay. So
yeah.
What you want is at the top of your, let's see, it's so small on my screen. Let me see how I can get this bigger on here. At the top of your screen, you've got some options up there. What you have global selected.
Yes.
What you want is normals.
Okay, that's probably been my problem.
Is now over to the right of that.
Yes.
Drop it down, and currently I think you've got 3D cursor. You want bounding box. There it is.
Okay. All right. Let me try that.
Go down to the bottom. Shift Control. There. See. There you go.
So now
scale.
Extrude.
You get now scale. S.
Scale. Excellent. Okay.
All right, you got it. All right. Chord is on. Cool. All right. So I want the top half to match in a little bit the geometry of the bottom half a little bit. What's going to help me is this face that I have selected. I can take that face and make it a separate object. Over here on the right hand side, you get to see my cylinder, which is my hydrant, right? I'm going to double click. I want everybody to double click it right now and call it hydrant. I'll make sure I spell it right here. Call it hydrant. Okay, now I want to take this front face, this top section. Don't play. She's always like playing. So I want to take this top section and I want to make it a completely separate 3D object. Is it a separate 3D object now? No. Why? Excellent, because it's connected to all the other, to the cylinder. We're going to make it a separate 3D object. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to duplicate it. The shortcut to duplicating is Shift D, right? I just duplicated it. And I'm going to right click to make it jump back to where it began. The last thing we're going to do is still not a separate, it's a separate face, but it's not a separate object. It's still inside the object for the hydrant, right? We're going to make it go outside the object for the siren, for the hydrant, by hitting the P for parts on my keyboard. Hit the P, and I'm going to say, I want you to make the part that is selected, the selection, into a separate object, and click it, and there it is. Now, to see it, if you look over here, hydrant and hydrant 1. So if I click on hydrant 1, right, in order to click on it, I got to go to object mode. Tab, object mode. See, there it is. Now I'm going to call this one a hat. Double click it. We're going to call this one hat for the hydrant. Now I'm going to go into the edit mode for the hat. And if it helps, I'm going to go over here to the side view. We're in object mode. Edit, tab, edit mode. Select that front face, right? Go to the 3 key, my orthographic view. I'm going to get in close. And watch. What do I do next? Excellent. Extrude. I don't ask trick questions. So watch. Don't do it. Watch me. E key for extrude. Boom, 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 boom. Right there. I want to go to X-ray view so I can see what I'm doing. Right? I want to taper this in from the top in a little bit. What do I do? So what was that? Nope. Nope, not even close. Scale. S for scale. See? All right, we're going to do one other thing. Okay. Now, we're still on the top, right? We need to inset the top because we want to extrude smaller polygons to make this section up in here. So what do? No, you had it first, did it right the last time. Inset. Watch. Inset. The first letter of inset is what? I. Hit the I key. Let the mouse hover and see it. See that? It's coming in. All right, the last thing I want to have you do is this. No detail. We do not want to create this rounded shape. You're putting detail in too soon. I just want 2 sections. One that comes to here, and then another section that ends right about there. So if I go to the E key and bring it up to right about there, I'm going to go over to my orthographic view. And I want to reduce the size to come in a little bit. What do? What? Scale. Right. S, scale to there. I know you're tempted to want to actually start creating that rounded shape. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to come up. So I want to scale it up again. So what do I need to do? Not scale it up, but extrude it up again. What do I do? Extrude. I already gave the answer. E key for extrude. Come right there to the top, right about there. Left click and set it in. Now I want to make it smaller. What do I do? Scale. That's exactly right, for sure. Right there. That's all the geometry you want. You don't want any more than that. Less is more. It's going to make sense later on. So what else do we have? We have this straight section that comes up, right? It's like a thin little neck. E for extrude. Go to right about there. Now we get to bring it out a little bit, right? What do? Nope. If I hit scale, it's going to do this. Is that what I want to do? No. So what I want to do? That's right. Extrude. What do I do next? Right click. Reset. Now what do I do? Scale. Excellent. Bring it on out. And I left click to commit the changes. What do I do next? Extrude. There we go. That's simple. All right. It's lunch break time. We got an hour break. Finish this up on your break, or some portion of your break. And we're going to come back. Let me get the little timer, the 1 hour timer, which I have right there. Okay. Before we do that, let me actually stop the recording. There we go. And okay, we're starting recording now. All right. So everybody watch me. I'm gonna let you guys go off on your own. Now I've got my top hat. I've got the bottom half. The main thing I want to do at this point is I want to add this detail right down here in the bottom. Okay. Now yesterday we talked about adding geometry, right? And the way to add geometry is to use the shortcut command Control R. That would add more slices. Now, in order to do so, I've got to be in edit mode. I don't want you following me. I'm watching it. I know you're going back to that computer to follow me. Okay. No, don't do it fast. I want you to watch me. All right. So tab key, edit menu. And I want to add more geometry here that's going to represent this little piece. Most people might add a line here at the top and a line at the bottom. You don't need to do that. Control R adds the line in. Left click and hold slides the line. I'm going to put it right there dead center. And click again to commit my changes. I just added a line. Now we're going to add this extra detail. Watch me. Impatient, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. So watch. I'm going to go to my edge editing mode. That's number 2 key in my keyboard. Select that edge. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel this edge out. The first letter of the word of the bevel is B. Control B. Control or Command B for boy. And then once I do it, I'm going to just pull this out and I'm creating a bevel like so. Then I'm going to left click. Now I'm going to do one last thing. This bevel comes out a little bit, right? It extends outward. So right over here on the left hand side, you're going to in your modeling platform here, you see these little tools. Now right below the transform, it's the fourth one down below the transform tool. If I click and hold on it, what I want is an option of extrude along the normals. So all I'm going to do is grab the handlebar, pull it out to get extra geometry to look like this. If we turn off the X-ray temporarily, See, that's what we've done. So we're going to add a loop with Control R. Once you hit Control R, click and drag the loop so it goes dead center of that shape. And then do a bevel, Control B, and that'll expand it outwards to create your bevel. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is this. We're going to make the curve up here. Before, let's see, can I do it now or I'm going to do it now? If I turn this off temporarily, the hydrant, let's go to the hat. You'll notice these indentations we have in up here. We're going to recreate those indentations based on the faceted geometry that we created. So do me a favor. Before we do this, come on down here, add in this extra detail, utilizing your slicing tool and your extrude along normals tool. The extrude along normals over here, this just says the fourth one down from your transform tool, little square with the green highlight. If you don't have it, click and hold. You see more options in here. Grab that extrude along normals. Okay, so get to that point. And I'm going to walk around and assist everybody else here. All right, I am now recording. So now I'm going to go back up here to the hat. Go to Tab key, Object Mode. And I'm going to target the hat and turn it on. I want to curve. Now, what I want to do, and I started to share this with you, is I'm going to turn off the hat temporarily. What I want is to create this detail. And as every other space is being selected. So I'll go back to the hat. Turn it on. Tab key, edit. Okay. What I'm going to do is this. Select all of my polys in this area. Hit the 3 key on the keyboard. I want to make sure it's this here. There we go. Okay. I can't. Maybe I'm trying to look for. Okay, now I'm looking at something different here. All right, Shift, grab it. I'm gonna go every other one according to the photo. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna add that indented detail in here. All right, so once it's selected, then what I'm going to do is hit Inset. Watch me. Inset. There we go. Now, all I'm going to do at this point is I want it to actually go into the piece. So, with it all selected, E key for extrude. I'm slowly trying to. The monitor is so small. I'm trying to it's hard to see. There we go. I think I'm gonna go just about that far. All right, that looks good. Oops, what did I do? It's fumble hands for me. Let me go back and redo this. Come back over here, get the extrude along normals. Oops. I did it again. Didn't mean to do that. I think I'm gonna. No, maybe I better not do that. Let me see something. There we go. We'll go that far. I think this is good enough. All right. We go around it, inspect it. So I'm creating that shape. Don't worry about it right now. That doesn't look perfect. It's all going to be cleaned up later. So get those shapes included in that. You might even want to go down. And that's what I was trying to assess here. Looking up close, probably I should probably gone down a little deeper in depth. Okay. I give you 5 minutes to get to that point. How you guys doing? All right, I'll come back and help you. Okay. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go to object mode, and you put the cylinder. Hold on, I'm not just saying. We didn't do that top half here. Okay. Got it. Now what we're gonna do is select that top half like that. That's it. Now Shift D. Get your mouse and keep doing this. Keep your hands on the mouse. Right click. Right click. There you go. Thank you. Okay. Now what you're gonna do, that's gonna be a separate object. So hit the P key on the keyboard for parts. The other hand, keep that on that mouse. On the mouse. Okay, so selection. Good. See? Call that one hat. Very good. Okay. Now go to edit mode for the hat. Let's go to object mode, my fault. Go to object mode. Tab key, please. Go to object mode. Activate the hat by clicking on it. That's the hat. Now go to edit mode. Good. Extrude the hat up. Pull it out with an extrude, then a left click. Extrude and a right click, and then pull it out, and then extrude up. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Good.
So I'm trying to. I think I feel a lot more confident when I do this.
It's a second mode. You want to switch mode. You only want, that's right, you want to stay in that mode, you only select what you click in front of you.
Yeah. So not do that.
What are you trying to do? Okay. Get out of swim mode. And just select every other one. So select. Once you have more. No, why do we have a lot more colors?
I don't know. I think it's about 10. I think it's when we make a hat. I think I did I think I not 10
Yeah. Okay, there it is. I just went back. I just said undo.
I know. Well, I didn't know how we got to I don't know how.
Oh, there we go. Let's see.
Oh,
Oh, damn it. Well, you're gonna have to work with this now, since you've got it, right?
yeah.
So just select everything. Click on the 3 key. Tab. Here we go. Tab. Edit. You make sure you select it all. So when you do your get it? Okay. Since you messed that up and added more in there, you gotta suffer.
I know, I get it.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would have you two work together. I know you're gonna hate it. Otherwise, I have to. Yeah. I mean, we'll work together and help. And she's gonna ask her about. No, she's gonna teach you the shortcuts and all that stuff. You can work together here, and then tomorrow you'll get the video. Watch the video. This is already out there. Did you sign up online? Let's do it right now. Do you remember where to go get the link for it?
It's on most of the reports.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I'm just going to get some.
Yeah, just minimize it. Exit. Minimize it. No button right there.
To the top.
Yeah.
So, it's right here.
There it is. Go sign up so I have your name. Because I'm going to send the link. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Register. Right there. There you go.
Have you heard of program before?
What?
Program?
Who?
Program. Program?
No.
Have you heard of program?
No. I'm sending it.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Is it going to send you a message?
Yes, it is. There you go. Every other one. Now, if it helps you, and it will. Okay, let me show you. Okay, watch me. Okay, so I'm noticing how you guys are selecting here. All right. Watch me real quick, please. I notice how you're selecting. You're still in X-ray mode. So when you select things, it's selecting other geometry back there you don't want. Get out of X-ray mode. Watch me. So click that X-ray mode button to get out of it so that all you're going to do is select the ones that you want right in front of you. And then you hold the shift key to select. I'm going to get out of that extrusion mode. Does that make sense? See, if you're there's this little button up here at the top. There's 2 buttons to the left. So be patient with yourself because you weren't here yesterday. We went over all this already. So this is your first time seeing this. Okay, so everybody watch me here real quick. And then I'm going to let you guys finish up. So I'm going to go to the hat. I'm going to go get out of this X-ray mode here. And this blue is annoying me because I am not. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyways, what I want to do at this point is I want to round it off. I missed something here. I messed up something here now. Okay, I forgot to select this one here. So I tell you what, I'll just go ahead and do this real fast, just like that. There. To inset it. E to extrude in a little bit. Okay, that's good enough. Pull it out, pull it back just a little bit. Okay, that's good. Okay, now everybody watch me. I'm gonna just turn this off temporarily. Looking at the helmet here, this is rounded. You're not watching me, so you're gonna miss this totally. I'll let you go back. All right, I want that rounded. Remember I said we only needed a few polygons? All right, watch. We're gonna correct that now. Let's turn this back on for the hat. Go to my edge editing mode. Double clicking on the edge creates the whole, will select that entire loop right across here between the two. I didn't need to add more polygons in there because I'm going to have the bevel command do it for me. So I'm going to come over here, go back to X-ray so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, get in close. So watch closely. What's the shortcut for the bevel command? Control B. Watch. Well, before I do so, yeah, good. I'm recording. So, Control B. Watch. I can pull it out. Remember, I'm not clicking. I'm going to take it as far as I want. Now watch. The middle scroll wheel. Boom, boom, boom. Does it for me. And I can add more and get as close as I can. And then left click commits the changes. Turn off X-ray mode so I can see what I've done. And you've got more of the curvature that we're looking for. Now we're still not finished, but this gives you an idea of where we're going with this. Yes.
So can you add more and more of those?
The question is, can I add more by click continue rolling the wheel? Yes.
So you can get as long.
You can get as much as you want. I recommend not doing it too much. I only did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all you need. Because we're going to add another command to smooth it all out. So let's finish that up, and then we're going to start adding the bolts to it. So what was your question? I thought I heard a question back there. No? Don't forget, you can turn that X-ray on and off. Make use of it. How are you guys doing online? All right, there we go. There we are. Boom, 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 boom. My good old chat box. I'm assuming everybody online is good to go.
I do have a question.
Sure, go for it.
So when I created my hat,
Right.
somehow I did not separate it from the cylinder. Is there a way after the fact to separate?
Yeah, absolutely. Share your screen. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Oh, I can't share my screen.
That's right. Okay. Yes, you can. What was that? Oh, that's right. I can share your screen. Okay, hold on a minute. That's right. I'm sorry. My fault. I need help. I've got it. Okay, participants. And go to the participants, right? Was it?
Click on just click on that thing.
Click on this thing here.
And who's Deborah?
And it's Deborah, right? There she is.
And then
here.
So let's see. So I think there's a more. Press more.
Press more.
Press it.
Okay, got it.
Oh wait, this thing.
Get this thing out of the way.
Yeah. Press more.
Now she has a Macintosh. It has these preferences that it wants you to confirm on her end. That's what it is. So it may not be able to.
So what you can do is, I think you can temporarily make her host, and then she can share the screen, and she can make you host.
Right. The thing is that her Macintosh wants her to to set up her preferences to do it. She doesn't know how to do it. Her preferences.
It's not that I don't know how to do it. It's I have it set up for a different class that I take, and it's kind of involved. What I can do is send you a screen capture through chat.
Oh yeah, and then you can present that.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
do that. I'll go back and share my screen again. So you just don't want you just don't want to mess with those preferences right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, the other one is related to my job, so it's a little more involved.
No worries. Now, what you might like to do, if anybody's is kind of ahead of us right now, ahead of most of the class, go on and create the extensions on your fire hydrant here. Right, the smaller little the areas that where you connect your water hose to. You got one there. You got one in the front. Create those next. Exactly. It's extra credit for those who feel daring.
I can mess with what I'm messing with right now.
Like back in high school,
It's like,
lost.
I don't know what I'm messing with right now. It's not bad. It's not like I was stretched out. It's the right shape. It's just I can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause recording. I should start recording real quick before we take a break. It's a good habit to get into. To kind of get out of X-ray mode from time to time and take a look at it. So far it's looking pretty good. And then I'm going to add a couple more things to it when we come back from break. And then we're going to smooth it out, add the bolts on there, and it's going to look a lot more accurate to our the original fire hydrant back there. Okay, cool. So I'm going to bring up the 15-minute timer. Go. All right, so I'm going to get in close. So you guys get to do this on your own. I want to just get past this real quick. But all you're doing is, once again, just to reiterate, we're selecting the edge and then adding a bevel. I'm going to have you practice that in just a little bit. But once done, I'm going to add a non-destructive mode right over here. This blue little gear there. I'm gonna have my hydrant selected, and then right below the hydrant is my properties. It's my 3D properties, 3D objects properties, and this blue little wrench represents your modifier. All I'm gonna do is this. Watch me. All eyes up here. I'm gonna go to the drop menu and select one called subdivision surfaces. What subdivision surface means is that it's going to take a harsh angle and change it into a curve. So all these faceted edges here are going to disappear. So modifier, subdivision surface is already become smooth. You see that? To before and after. Before and after. I can add more, get it to give you more details. For the levels of view, you're going to go to 3, and that's it. Now it's really smooth. And because we added those beveled edges in there, it's held the shape. So we go to the bottom, it's held the shape. I'm going to do the same thing to the helmet. Come up to the helmet, turn it on. I'm in object mode. Add in subdivision surfaces, which is located underneath the generate category. Click it. See? The levels of view, take it up to 3. See? All right. So, do me a favor. Go ahead, select your edges, and add a bevel. And then what I did is I added additional roundness of about 3 or 4. Should be fine on your edges. Bevel your edges, and then add a subdivision modifier. So under the blue wrench there, go to your drop list, and in your drop list, add that subdivision modifier surface, and make sure that the levels of view is 3. Then we're going to go to the bolts. And I'm going to pause the recording. Hit the record. If you haven't applied your modifier yet, go ahead and apply it just to see what it looks like. Now, if you look at mine, because I added those beveled edges on here, right, it's holding that shape pretty well. You're noticing that it's starting to go out of shape just a little bit down here at the bottom. So all your eyes up here, guys. Don't play on your computer. So notice at the bottom, and I'll go into the orthographic view like so. You see how it's starting to kind of bow out a little bit, where the actual shape behind it is kind of straight down. The way that you fix that while you're in subdivision surfaces mode is I'm going to go select the shape, go to my edit mode, and I'm going to add another loop cut right across here. Watch. Control R, clicking, oops, I'm in the wrong area, sorry. Let me pull this back this way. I'm going to undo that last loop cut that I did. Now, Control R, there's the loop cut. Click and hold and drag it down. And what this edge is going to do is it's going to pretty much hold this shape all the way to the end, like that. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to complete the same thing on the other side. Command R and pull it up, and it's going to hold that shape all the way to here. So now when I turn on, see, it's held it. So be aware of that. Okay, let's go get the bolts. There is one plugin that I did not have you guys install in the Blender. Go to your edit menu right now. Right now, go to your edit menu. Go to your preferences. Go to add-on. And you're going to type in the word bolt, B-O-L-T. And make sure you have Add Mesh Bolt Factory. Okay. Blender has some neat little stuff like this. They have a lot of add-ons. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to add a boat. Where do I go get that boat? So first of all, get out and go to object mode now. Okay, we're in object mode. Oh, by the way, I'm noticing compared to my photograph behind there that this kind of is bowing out a little bit here. I want to kind of hold that edge in a little bit. And I might go ahead and correct that now while I'm thinking about it. So edit mode, Command R go into there and just push it on in just like that. See what I'm doing? There we go. That does it. That holds it in a lot better. All right, now we're going to add in the boat. Now take a look at this. See where my 3D, actually this little, that's not my 3D cursor. I can place my 3D cursor on the origin point. This is called an origin point. I can set the 3D cursor on my origin point because I want the boat to be up here by Shift S, and I want the 3D cursor to select it. When I click it, it jumps there on that selected point. Once it's there, it just makes my life easier as to where I'm going to put objects. Okay, I'm going to put a boat there. So where I'm going to find the boat, let me come over here. Let's go back into my object mode. So I want to bring the boat in as a separate 3D object, right? So got to be in object mode. So Shift A, and I think, oh God, I'm going from memory here. Over here, over to there, it is boat right there in front of me. Under the mesh, boat, and click it, and it's a big gigantic boat that looks like that. Made it huge, so I gotta scale it down. So S key, scale it down. Now hit the period key on the numeric side of my keyboard, drop it in. S, scale it down. Hit the period on the numeric side of my keyboard. Okay, scaling it down. I'm looking at the actual boats on the photograph. It's got to go smaller. Scale right about like that. Probably scale it up a little bit bigger. Like, how does that look? About right there. All right, now watch. Go to X-ray mode. Let's go back and bring back my helmet. Where is going on? Boat hat is here. Let me pull it on back. Go to my 3D assets and turn them back on. Oops. Oh, my mouse is acting kind of weird. '3D assets, I'm going to turn that off. Hat, there's the hat. Alright, let's turn that on. I'm wondering what's going on here because my things aren't showing up when they should be showing up. Okay, turn that. Cameras, lights, and action. My hat here is telling me it's on. It's on visually, so why am I not seeing it? Hydrant. Why is it not on visually? That's weird. Hey guys, I don't know what's going on here. Nothing's locked. The visual aspects say that it's, wait a minute, what's going on here? That's my boat, right? Maybe somebody's seeing something I'm not seeing. The hat is on, so why am I not seeing the hat? Hit the period key. Let's go to the hat. Let's go to the hydrant is gone too. So click on the hydrant. Alright guys, this is really bizarre. Let me just back up or something. Maybe what I did was I resized everything down when I resized the helmet. So I'm going to go back up big. There we go. All right. So now there's the boat. I'm going to click everything off and just click on the boat. So I'm guessing, there it is. Well, that's kind of weird. That's what's happening. Okay, weird. Okay, I'm gonna undo this. So what's happening is it's attaching itself to the geometry and it shouldn't be. I'm telling it not to. So I'm gonna deselect it. All right, we're gonna go back and do it again. Bring in a bolt. It's there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock the hydrant, lock the hat. We're gonna do this the hard way, the more aggressive way. So interesting. There it is. It worked. When I locked the helmet and the hat, it worked. Now, it should have not touched the helmet or the hat. It was on its own separate object layer. It shouldn't have done it. I wasn't expecting it to do that, but I have noticed buggy things in Blender happening sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down. Go to my X-ray view. Go to my top view, and I'm gonna bring the boat. Let's see. I'm bringing it off to the side here. How do I want to see that? I want to bring it over here to the front view. So I'm going to just bring it to the side. I'm going to show you a trick. Okay. I'm going to bring it down. That's where the top of the boat's going to be. I think I'm going to set it S key, match the size just like that. There. Now, the whole idea is we're only going to do one boat. We're going to make a bunch using one. Yeah, we're going to duplicate it. We're going to duplicate it in an array in the circle. And then we're going to take that array circle and we're going to duplicate it on the opposite side. And we're going to use it, and we're going to do it utilizing modifiers. Isn't that cool? All right, so watch. So there it is. It's in place, but not quite. I'm going to move this over on the inside. I'm going to turn off the X-ray view because stuff is getting in my way. In fact, I'm going to do this correctly. Move this over right inside here. I think I'm going to rotate it a little bit like so, and it's also a little bit too big. Right about like that. How's that look? Is that acceptable, guys? I think I'll take this out, go to my top view, and just pull it out right about there. Okay, that's it. All right, now let's go multiply this. How many sides or indentations do we have? We have 6. 1, 2, 3 here, and 1, 2, 3 there. So we need a total of 6 bolts. Now, see our 3D cursor in there? So if I select this object, the origin point for the object's in dead center of the object. I need to put the origin point on that 3D cursor. Because right now, you saw how I just rotated it? It rotated it in space on its center of axis. I want to change the center of axis. I do that by right-clicking on the geometry, set origin, set the origin to 3D cursor, and boom. Now watch. Now from here, I can rotate it along that face. Is that making sense? What I'm trying to do? Now what I want to do is I want to array this, so I'm rotating it 6 times, and I'm multiplying it 6 times. So if I come over here to the right, go to my little blue gear, I'm going to add a modifier just to that bolt. The modifier for the bolt I'm going to add is going to be called array. Very top, it's in alphabetical order. By default, it's arraying it on the x-axis, but I want how many? I want 6. You pull it out, you got 6 arrayed, okay? Now, I'm going to add in one last thing. I'm going to add in, you see this shape here, this 3D origin? Well, I'm going to add in another origin that I want these bolts to rotate around. That origin are called empties. Shift A, empty, and just add the empty as arrows, right? And there it is, right? So there's my empty. It's really large, because my hydrant is probably way small, but we only reduce the small to match the photograph that we have. It doesn't matter. This empty here, I'm gonna rename it and call it empty and then bolts. Okay. So what we're gonna do is, now that the empty is in place, I'm gonna tell these bolts to multiply around that empty. Now keep in mind, in order for this to work, I also had to change the orientation of the bolt here to the same location as the empty. So if I go over to the bolt, I go to the array. Currently, relative offset is selected. I'm going to uncheck it so all those go away. Why? Because I don't want to use the offset. I want to use an object offset. So offset this according to an object. So I'm going to check it and drop it down. And I'm going to tell it, well, what object do you want to offset this by? Click it here. I'm going to want it the empty bolts. And if I click it, something's happened. Well, something's happened. Now, you see this little gear. If I go up just one notch above, one icon above it, I have the location, the rotation, and the scale of any object in my scene. I want to select the bolts, the empty bolts. And what I want to do is tell that empty bolt to rotate, because watch what happens when I rotate the empty bolt. So empty bolt is targeted. When I rotate the empty bolt, oh, that's not working the way I thought it was going to. That should give me additional bolts. All right, let's see if I'm forgetting something here. I'm going to collect this. There we go. Select it. Scale rotation. No, interesting. Okay, so let me go back to my modifier. Let's see what I did wrong. So object offset, empty bolts is the object, is the, oh, select the empty bolts here. I'm missing something. And I just did this last night. So I'm going to save this one and open up the one I did last night and see what I'm missing. It could be I'm just really tired. So fire hydrant blend, that's the one I did last night. So architecture 2C. All right, let me go ahead and open fire hydrant blend. Let's open that up. There we go. All right, let's go back to my modeling. There she is. All right, you can see my multiple boats here. Go to my object, select it. That's the boat. Now I want to select the empty boats there. And I want to check one last thing. Item. All right. So if I select the empty boats, yeah, it's doing something, but it's not doing what I thought I wanted to do. Okay. So with the empty boats selected, the rotation, this is very interesting. I'm missing something. Okay, here you can see the duplicates that I have here as well. All right. I'm gonna go check that array real quick. There's my array modifier. Okay. And then object offset is empty bolts. Cool. Okay, it's done. Maybe it's this one. I've got the wrong one selected. I've got two empty bolts here. I don't know why. There we go. Let's go take a look at that option. I've got another empty bolts here. Okay, I've only done this about 50 times before, so why is it not doing what I expected to do? So here, go get the other empty bolts here. There it is. That's it. That's the one that's connected to the bolts. Okay, so basically this other empty bolts I'm going to turn off and also lock. All right, so that's working. Okay, so what I did, I'm going to undo this to get this to match perfectly in those positions. And so I've got 2, 4, 6 in there. Okay, so in the empty bolts, I want to go to the rotation for the empty bolts. There we are. This is the rotation on my z-axis. Oh, that's scale, silly. What am I doing? Rotation, there we go. See that rotation number is 60 degrees? I achieved that number. Go to my calculator. We want a 360-degree radius divided by the amount of bolts that I have. Divided by 6 equals 60 degrees. That will place the bolts perfectly along that 360-degree circle. So that's how I did it. So, but in order to make it happen, you have to tell the bolts to rotate around the empty. Go to the empty and put that number for the empty. So empty bolts is there. So the empty is that crosshair things there. So with the empty selected, I want to come over here. So see that little that orange square? That's your object properties for the empty bolts. So go to the rotation for the z-axis, and I typed in 60. If I put in 0, nothing happens, right? It's just one sitting there. Now this is where I started off with the other one I was having problems with. with that 1 there. Now, if I come back and go to Z and say 60, boom. That's what happens. Now, all I did after that is this. Go back to my boat. Go to the modifier. All right. When I initially started, there was no mirror. I went to the modifier, gave it a mirror, which I've already done. And I told it the mirror on the Z-axis. The same thing. So basically, there's only one object here that we created, and we've duplicated everything else. How do we know that? Well, if I come over to my tab key, go to edit mode, and we're going to go find the object we're going to edit. I'll hit the A key, select all. There it is. It's that one there. So now, if I come over, I'm going to go to X-ray mode very quickly. And just grab this top portion, for instance. Watch all the other boats. And I want to extend this up. All of them are edited at one time. So it's a nice little workflow in Blender. I don't want it all that much. Okay, so that's it. Now we're done with the hydrant. And I was hoping to get into more texturing today, but we'll start that first thing tomorrow. We'll start texturing first thing tomorrow morning. Get that out of the way. And then we'll start adding some Photoshop techniques later on. Is your brains blown yet? No. No? You're tough. I'm tired too. All right, so I've got this all recorded. So I'm going to stop. Let me ask, before I stop recording, let me ask any questions. And I'll go back over this again tomorrow, if anybody wants me to. The rotation portion, particularly. I'm going to kind of chat. There we go. Okay. All right, so no questions from online people? So I can stop recording now? All right, I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop the recording.